So.
It's a lie.
Yes.
Welcome, everyone, to the RWBY panel.
Hey. How many of you guys were here for On the Spot like 2 seconds ago? Okay, cool.
Oh, most of you.
What happened on that?
A lot. There was a push-up contest. James won, but ended up losing for his team because his pride took over. But I watched that mofo, since we're on the RWBY panel, I watched that mofo do 60 push-ups in a row. It was insane.
Like full push-ups?
Full push-ups, nonstop.
Man, I did 14 push-ups one time, and I was proud of myself.
I got winded walking up those stairs.
I like how right before the panel, too, they're like, you got 10 seconds. Lindsay grabs a beer. She's like, just enough time to do this.
Well, I did the party trick where you put the beer on the side of the thing and you hit it with your hand and it pops it off. And right after I did it, someone goes, "That's a twist off." I was like, oh, damn it. Never mind.
Oops. Well, welcome, everyone. Should we introduce ourselves for those of you who might not know us?
Sure.
And what we do?
Hi, I'm Lindsay Jones. I voice Ruby Rose.
I'm Anna Hullum, and I voice Raven Bronwyn.
Best mom. And I'm Barbara Dunkelman. I voice Yang Xiaolong. Woo! One guy really likes Yang over there. I heard that. So we're just going to kind of take it easy, talk about RWBY. Probably going to discuss Volume 5. So if you guys haven't seen it, sorry. But you did it to yourself. So that's cool. We have a mic set up for Q&A over there, so we're going to be doing that. But yeah, I think we're just really excited to talk about all the RWBY things. We unfortunately don't have anything to show you guys since the volume just ended, but hopefully you're keeping up with Chibi, which is now on.
Yes, Chibi just came on, and we can't say, like, Carrie tweeted about it, but they already started writing Volume 6, so get excited.
Wow! Cool. I think we're ready to start taking some questions. So if you want to come up, we have a mic right there. Oh, they are saying 2 at a time. Okay.
Thanks, yo.
They got a system.
Yeah.
Ew.
Sup?
Hi.
Hi. So, bit of a two-parter. What was like the most emotionally intense scene you've either like read or recorded? And like, what's the best way that you've sort of grounded yourself after something that's been that emotionally taxing, or anything else that's been emotionally taxing for you?
For me, it was definitely the last scene of Volume 5, the discussion between Yang and Raven. I had to actually physically cry doing that scene, not only during it, but also at the end where she starts sobbing on the ground. And to get into that headspace, you have to really bring yourself to a really dark place. And whenever I do that, it kind of affects me for the rest of the day. So I was kind of like really upset and depressed for the rest of the day. Luckily, it was kind of like in the mid-afternoon, so it didn't last too long. But it always helps to have like really supportive coworkers who are just like there for you. And they're like, are you okay? And I'm like, yeah, I was acting. It was so much.
That's why a lot of the method that she's talking about is called replacement method, where you take an emotion that you've had from your own personal experience and apply it to the scene that's happening. And I know some actors don't like that for that specific reason. They don't want to take the scene with them outside of the booth. But I do the same thing, and luckily, like, it's pretty easy for me to switch back and forth from emotions, especially when you hop into an Achievement Hunter video. You kind of have to turn the happiness back on. But it was definitely challenging for me doing the scene. I believe it's the end of Volume 3 between Yang and RWBY. I got a little verklempt. But I think the biggest one for me was same thing. Volume 3 is RWBY saying "leave her alone" after some stuff happens to Penny, and I felt like that was, for me, really intense because it's 3 simple words, and I'm like, but she has to express so many things in those words, you know, like loss, grief, frustration, anger. It's like all of that accumulating, and that was very difficult to try and portray.
Yeah, for me, I have to choose the same scene as Barb. That one scene was just very intense, very emotional, and we had a conversation about it afterwards where we were both sobbing in the booth that day. For a second, I thought your question was about grounding ourselves while we are actually, letting all of that out. And I had the sort of fleeting thought that maybe I should be grounding myself in that moment. And I'm like, really, I feel like I'm just throwing myself off of a cliff when I do it. But fortunately, we do have a lot of really supportive people around, and there were readily available hugs.
Yeah.
So I think that's how I get back.
Yeah. Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you.
Hello.
Hey, Yoga.
Hi.
What's up?
Hi. Okay, Lindsay, I know you're a massive Yu-Gi-Oh fan.
I am.
I have with me here in my hand the Exodia cards.
Oh my god. I won't be like Weevil and throw them off the boat and get rid of all the cards. For anyone who doesn't watch Yu-Gi-Oh, they're like, what the hell is she talking about? Bro, read a book. But that's awesome. Please don't obliterate me.
Yeah, I was actually wondering if you could like take them and then say Exodia obliterate as RWBY.
I mean, I will not steal your Exodia because I'm not a
Yeah.
piece of shit. But I'm sorry, piece of poo, Ruby. Just coming off on the spot. But I will say, Exodia obliterate!
That was brilliant!
Thank you. Take that, Kaiba. You and your rules and your money. Get out of here.
Mind crush!
Cool. Thanks,
You-
dude.
Thank you. Excellent.
Just harkening back to the first question about voice acting and whatnot, when you guys are doing a heavy emotional scene between characters, like especially that last scene between Yang and Raven, are you guys in the booth together watching it as you're doing it, or are you watching videos of each other doing it and back and forth, or?
I don't know if that would make it easier or harder, but we're not.
We're not.
We actually just had the chance, we did not, but Rooster Teeth has just had the chance to do 2 actors playing off of each other in the booth, and I think they did a scene for Red vs. Blue. It was Gus and Bernie, and they actually tweeted the picture. But other than that, we really, unfortunately, don't get the chance to. We'd like to move to that point. But we do get the luxury sometimes if someone else has recorded a line, they'll play it back for me and say, hey, here's how they delivered it, just to kind of work with that. But in the meantime, honestly, it's a lot of Miles or Carrie acting out as the other characters, so we still get that emotion to play off of, which is very nice.
Yeah, and like I said, I'm not sure if it would make it easier to be acting against somebody in that situation or harder. Really, I'm just thinking of how deeply into your own head you get, and it's sometimes I think maybe even more complicated to like look into somebody else's eyes.
Well,
and
it's weird because acting and voice acting are so different. And I
Very
think
different.
with voice acting, I almost find it easier if I get to just do it on my own without any reference of anyone else's performance, so I could just kind of do my own thing. But yeah, as Lindsay said, Miles and Carrie are great directors, and they take you through the scene really well, and they even kind of emulate the voices of the other characters too, so it really helps to hear them do that to get yourself into the scene.
Yeah, I think they're wonderful at that, at expressing the emotion of the character you're working with.
And I would like to get to the point where we do play off of each other, and that's just me as an actor thinking about that. But I think one thing I love about Miles and Carrie doing that is how often they'll present a line, and just because, you know, we've gone over the script maybe a few times, we get this idea in our head of what the line delivery is supposed to be, and sometimes they'll totally throw us for a loop and have inflection that's different, or like, I don't know, the amount of aggression that's in it is different, and I go, oh, okay, like as an actor, I have to take a second in that moment to respond naturally how that character should respond, and I love that.
Yeah.
Agree.
And sometimes you have no idea with the script. Like there's a line where I yell at Raven, I say, "You're afraid of Salem." And I like just reading the script, you're not supposed to be like, "You're afraid of Salem," or whatever it is, or the actual
It's
line
not
I
a
did where I
taunt,
just
it's like,
yelled
yeah.
at her. So getting that direction is very helpful for sure.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, as voice actors, and I'm guessing fans of your own work to an extent, how do you hope to see the progression between certain characters? For example, Raven and you know Yang. How do you want that relationship to grow?
I want to take her in my arms and hug her and love her and make her cookies.
As Raven, not Anna.
That's all Anna talking.
Yeah, we talked about this at the first RWBY panel we did on Saturday, but it's so funny seeing Anna play Raven because Anna is like the sweetest, most wonderful person and like best mom of Rooster Teeth. And to see her play someone like Raven who's like the complete opposite in every way, it's just so weird.
She's really fun to play, though. You get all that.
Being a villain's
Yeah.
fun.
Yeah.
It really is. I personally would really like to explore the relationship between like Weiss and Ruby, and not in the way that you shippers are talking about.
What's that, White Rose?
Yeah, White Rose.
White Rose.
I mean, I don't know what. I don't know what it is. But I think it'd be awesome. I've talked before about how I would really like Ruby to finally admit that she's seen a lot of terrible things. I think she's not handling her trauma in a very healthy way. She's internalizing it and pushing forward because she feels like she has to. It's her job. So I really would like for Ruby to have that breaking point, and for Weiss, of all people, who has made it her mission in the past few volumes to, kind of like, degrade Ruby or at least belittle her a little bit, to say, hey, I'm your friend, and now I'm going to take the reins and lift you up. That'd be cool.
Yeah, thank
That
you.
would be cool.
Thank you.
Hi.
Hello.
Hi.
We haven't heard from Junior much recently. Are we likely to see him again and the possible mother and father bear?
Nah, screw that guy.
Oh, I want to see Jeremy as father bear.
Oh my God, that'd be amazing. I mean, Jeremy's busy playing Weiss, so.
My favorite is Michael as Yang when he goes, I'm Yang!
It's just his Toad impression. That's all he did. It's amazing, though.
Like, do I really sound like that? Jeez, man.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you. She's back from the dead.
Only on the outside.
There you go.
You're not wearing your crown today.
Yeah, it fell off. It broke.
Oh, no.
I'm gonna
Cinder
skip,
has it.
Yeah, I'm gonna skip the emotional breakdown I had last night at Anna's signing. Thanks for being here and doing everything for us. My question is, if you could voice any character in the show that obviously isn't your character, who would it be and why?
I've always wanted to voice a villain. I've always thought that would be really fun. So, I mean, Cinder or Salem would be really cool.
And then Negri can voice Yang.
Then Jessica could do Yang. She would do a great Yang because she honestly is like the embodiment of Yang. If you guys have ever met Jessica Negri, it's like the
she's
perfect
the most
match.
bubbly person, and there's no act there. That is all
That's
genuine
all
Jessica.
her. Yeah, I actually take a lot of inspiration from Jessica for Yang. So, just a little known fact for you guys. But no, I think playing a villain would be fun. I don't think I'm sassy enough though for a villain. I don't think I could do like the smoldery kind of tone that all the villains have in the show.
They're not all smoldery.
You're pretty smoldery.
I don't think so.
You got some smolder, girl. Work it.
Wispy. I really like doing the villain thing. I think I don't know. I'd probably say Salem just because she's so awful.
She's crazy.
And also especially that last scene with the big spinny scary.
Oh yeah, the illusion.
I'd like to be that for a few hours. So cool.
That's awesome. I've jokingly said Professor Port before, which would just be fun
You'd
and
make a
dumb.
wonderful Professor Port.
Thank you very much. Take that, Ryan. But
Now
honestly,
I just want to see Ryan voice Ruby.
oh my God, that'd be amazing. I would love that. But I guess a more serious answer would like straight up, if Crow was like Aunt Crow instead of Uncle Crow, I'd be all about that.
That would be fun.
Hey kids, what's up?
Ruby.
Her skirt was so short.
It was beautiful.
Thank you.
I mean, I'm already drinking, so.
There you go.
Halfway there.
Hi.
Hi.
Hello.
Hi. First off, I'd like to say that you guys are all a big inspiration to me, and I love you guys. So thank you very much for
We
being
love
here.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you. First, my question is: was it like, as an actor, seeing that your characters have evolved over time to play someone who's gone through all those emotions, who's gone through all those changes? So what was it like?
I almost feel like Yang has gone through more changes in her life than I have as Barbara. So it's definitely a challenge because our characters go through things that we as people have never gone through, whether it be loss of a limb or a friend or anything like that, or your entire school getting destroyed by Grimm. We have never gone through that. So it's a really fun challenge to get to try to put your head inside the head of another person, another character, and to emulate that and to, I don't know, have that emotion come through. It's a fun challenge.
I don't know. It's really, I don't know. Lindsay, you go. I'm lost.
I mean, I can kind of agree with Barbara in a sense, obviously, that I've not had as many trials and tribulations as Ruby has had. But as an actor, I, again, do the replacement method where I think about things that have happened in my life that I can relate to. And honestly, like, the biggest thing I could pull from of Ruby watching the loss of two of her friends happen in front of her was like losing Monty. So I think about that very often, and I can connect there. But as far as like, I don't know, connecting in a little bit more of a positive way too, or at least how the character of Ruby has changed me. As I get older and older, I feel like I become a lot more jaded and cynical. I think everyone does as they get older. But Ruby has reminded me to stay positive and really has reminded me about the simpler things in life and how there's a lot of beauty in things that go overlooked. So I appreciate that.
I was struggling a little because I was thinking about the development of the characters, and Raven's she had, you know, a little appearance, and then just sort of bam. And it felt to me like that development was very slow and behind the scenes. So it was a little hard to track. And when I did that first recording where she talked to Yang in that...
That's at their volume 2,
right? Yeah, it was the
Yeah.
very last shot of volume 2. I had no idea what was happening. Like, I was just in the booth, recording the line, going, I don't know what this character's going
And
to do.
that was just Monty being like,
That was-
hey, Anna, you want to do this character?
Well, he asked me. He had asked me about it like before the first season came out.
yeah.
But so he asked me long ago, I'd like you to play Barbara's mom, and I'm like, that would be awesome. You know, I can't actually be her mom, right? Like I'm. He's like, yeah, but and I'm like, no, that would be so cool. And he said she's not very nice. That was all I knew.
I'm a terrible child.
No.
Oh, Raven. I thought you meant me. I was like, man, Barbara's not very nice.
No, the character. That was all I knew. And I had that one line for a couple of years. So, you know, for me, the development was sort of very sudden, all of a sudden, right at the end there.
Yeah.
I feel like that's the best Raven way, though. Like, I'm very mysterious and like, bam, what's up? I'm here. Hey, let's go.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello.
Hello.
My question is, if you could change the weapons your characters use, what would the weapons be?
Change the weapon of our characters.
I feel like Ruby would have something cookie related, just to be very self-serving. Yeah, like a cookie cutter, but she would only use it for herself.
What about a cookie gun?
There you go.
That's amazing.
I'm all about it.
I would do, she'd still have the 2 gauntlets, but they'd be 2 scythe gauntlets instead. So it'd just be like, cha-cha-cha-cha-cha, but huge, like the size of Ruby's.
I just bow and arrow just immediately popped into my head.
Raven would be cool with a bow and arrow.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
She's out in the woods, you know, she has access to animals.
She's covered in feathers and stuff.
Yeah.
I feel like she's like a hunter.
Yeah, I agree. She's the Papageno of
Oh my
Ruby.
god, what do you have?
Oh no.
What did you do?
What do you mean?
Oh my goodness.
What is that?
What did I do? Do you need a hand?
I do.
She had to pop it off to get into the relic chamber.
That's
you know?
very disarming.
Very much so.
Yes, you're allowed, yes.
I just want to say before I ask my question, thank you for making my birthday. This has been amazing.
Happy birthday. Happy birthday. Everyone say happy birthday.
Happy birthday!
There you go.
Happy birthday, Nicole!
Wait,
Happy birthday, Yang!
awesome.
Happy birthday! My question is, in terms of the maidens, it depends on what their powers are going to be, and I know you can't say much because it would be spoilers, but would they have different fighting styles? Easiest way I could think of to compare would be in terms of like Avatar, how different elements have different styles there, or is it just depending on the actual sort of person as what they prefer?
I would assume they had different fighting styles, and again, this is just me speaking as a fan of the show and not knowing at all, and also someone who loves Avatar: The Last Airbender. Hell yeah, they're all benders, absolutely.
My favorite bender is from Futurama.
Hey.
Thank you, ladies.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi.
Hi.
Hi. When it comes to characters, who is your favorite? And please don't say Yang, Barbara.
What? Why can't I say Yang?
Because.
I like Blake. For reasons.
Oh my. Anna?
I think I like Crow.
Crow's pretty cool.
Crow is
Yeah.
a really cool character, and he's got a lot of stuff going on. And his sister is awesome. So.
Jeez. I do have to wonder, and I know the writers know, but like, was Crow born first or Raven? Because they're twins, but.
I think at one point Raven calls him little brother.
Okay, cool.
So I think he's younger.
Now I know.
Yeah.
Shit. Favorite character? Crow's up there, but Tai Yang is pretty awesome. I'm not gonna lie,
cool, yeah.
especially because it's Bernie. Like I can't help but like always associate that with Bernie, and he already kind of embodies a little bit of a father figure. I know Barbara can speak to that as well. He'll come into the office and make a lot of dad jokes and hang out with us. So to watch that be translated into an animated form is amazing.
Yeah. I love being able to say that Bernie and Anna are my anime parents because they're like the best.
Yeah.
They're the best, and I'm so happy.
It's all weird because Bernie's like my brother in real life. Not literally.
You guys had me.
Oops.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, ladies.
Hello.
Mainly directed to you, Lindsay. We've already seen, like, with other characters, how trauma has affected them. So, like, Weiss, she had to have a massive maturing moment and leave what was left of her family. Blake, she stood up. She kind of became her own person when she returned home. And obviously, Yang lost a major part of her. And you already said early in the panel that you want to see how RWBY deals with kind of like her trauma and PTSD. How do you think that's going to affect, like, how she matures and her moral path?
I think a lot of people have mentioned this before too, but you can kind of hear the difference in line delivery that I have now post Volume 3. I haven't changed the timbre of her voice, but I really try and like ground a lot more of her because it's coming from a place of like, you know, a sadness, I guess, or like a little bit more clarity on the way that the world is and understanding that there's going to be negative aspects of it. She's not as young and naive as she used to be, basically. But moving forward, like I said, I really want her to have that breakdown, but I think that would make her become more strong in the long run and perhaps also rely a little bit more on her team for some things because I think, again, she's taking so much of the burden, especially emotional burden, to try and push forward. So for her, in a sense, it's a little bit selfish, and I know that sounds insincere to say, but it's true, is she's ignoring her own health and the health of others to say, no, we got to push forward, and it's like, just stop, relax, allow yourself to be sad.
All right, thank you very much.
Yeah, thanks.
Thank you. Hi, you look awesome.
Best mom.
I know, she's
I'm just
definitely
kidding.
a better
Goodness.
mom.
My question is, if you could be any weapon in the world of Remnant that isn't your character's own, what would you be?
If we could be a weapon?
I am a weapon.
I think to some extent they're all weapons.
I mean, my farts are pretty deadly.
Yeah.
Does that count?
As far as a weapon in the world of Remnant, I really like Nora's weapon. I think
Yeah.
that's awesome. And I used to play a lot of softball, so man, would I love to just swing and hit
You
the
could always
crap
be
out
like,
of someone.
It's hammer time.
Yeah, I have to agree, actually.
It's cool.
I love that.
And she uses it for transport too. She's like, see you.
It's
You don't need
so
a car.
useful.
I think I would be Weiss's sword because it's so like elegant, but like really deadly, and it has like so many uses to it. I think that would be really fun.
Awesome.
Thank
you
you.
so much.
Thank
You look
you.
awesome.
She also has a little tray. That's amazing.
So cute.
G'day, ladies.
G'day,
G'day.
Oh, no, that's an Eastern thing. We're Western. I'm a Westerner.
You said it first, so.
Yeah.
I just talked into my beer. I also just watched that man shake his head like, oh my God, stop, please. You're embarrassing my country, enough.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
So the likes of RWBY, as well as Kerry Miles and Monty, have all been sort of an inspiration for me to make some of my own work that I'd like to present to Rooster Teeth sometime if I could ever get there. My own personal question, which is partially due to the fact that I'm very lacking it in my own series, what is the funniest scene, in your own opinions, that you've ever presented?
The funniest scene in RWBY?
Yeah.
Food fight.
Food fight was fun.
I love the
That was a
food
lot of
fight.
fun.
Yeah, I liked the food fight scene was really fun. I liked how it all started when Yang goes, I always kick my semesters off with the Yang! And then she gets hit in the face with a tomato. Or some red food object. No one really knows.
Pretty sure that was an apple.
It was something like that. Just because I think that was very art imitates life moment, because there's been many times where I've done that and I've been sitting there going, guys? And then silence. So
I mean, I think the food fight. You mean the like a specific line or?
Nah, just funny scene.
For me, I just love that one scene. That was, well, it's a huge scene, but I loved it so much, and I remember the discussion of it before it was animated, and talking about all the possible foods you could use as weapons, and I still laugh about the turkeys.
Yeah.
I mean, every time I see that scene,
Just
I'm
all the
chuckling.
food that they had in the cafeteria.
Why is there a string of sausages? You know?
A string of sausages, 2 full turkeys.
Don't worry about it. A whole watermelon.
There's something magical about that scene in the sense of like, not that the show is a realistic show, but there's a magical realism to that particular scene that is sort of almost outside of the logic that we see a lot of the rest of the time, and it's just so lighthearted and fun.
I thought it was a great example of fan service early on, and Monty, especially as a fan of anime, he understood fan service and how you can deliver this really awesome image in this whole scene that's so elaborate and the choreography is amazing, but still be able to basically poke fun at the show and laugh a little bit about it, and I thought that was fantastic. So I do enjoy the food fight a lot. Yeah. As far as recording myself, one of the beautiful things about RWBY is that we're able to ad-lib a lot in the booth. So, I mean, like the line that always sticks out to me is, she does like tuna a lot. That stayed in. And then also when I'm making fun of Weiss, like I'm really good friends with Kara, and she grew up where I grew up, so we almost have like a little bit more of an intimate bond than a lot of my other co-stars. So I know, sorry.
Sitting right here.
Sorry that I'm not from Canada. But so like at that time, they're like, hey, RWBY's kind of making fun of Weiss, so I just went off for like a minute, and I was like, I'm rich, I'm amazing, meh, I'm Kara. Like, it was really fun.
Thank you.
Cheers.
I also just realized that they are broadcasting this panel on the other stage. So hello, other stage.
Hello, other stage.
Hi,
What
guys.
up? That's awesome.
That's surprising.
I was just like, what's going on? Oh, wait, that's us.
It's quiet
Hello.
over there.
Hey, ladies.
Hey.
Well, I have a question for Anna here. Yeah. My question is, where did Raven become the new Spring Maiden?
When did she become the Spring Maiden?
Yeah.
I wish I could answer that.
You'll see.
I think that's one of the secrets you have to wait for.
Hashtag soon.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's okay.
Keep watching the show.
But it is surprising when she revealed her powers.
That was surprising.
Well
Yeah,
played.
that's what we call in writing a twist.
Shout out to Miles and Carrie.
Yeah, no, they did that really well. They really,
Yeah.
I think the amount of surprise over that moment
It's
was
kinda-
really gratifying.
It's kind of the opposite too of like how that like a lot of people were actually surprised by that moment, and then like you go back to like volume 2 when you find out Penny's a robot, and everyone's like, oh my god, Penny's a robot.
Now, just curious, did Monty tell you about that before you started playing Raven, or was that a surprise to you also?
No, that was a surprise to me too.
Okay.
He didn't tell me about that level.
Nice.
He's keeping secrets.
Awesome, thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Hi.
Hi.
Hello.
My question was, if you could have the semblance of one of the characters in your everyday life, what would you have and why?
I'm gonna say this first because me and Lindsay have the same answer.
Go.
I would take Yang's. I know that's a cop out, but it's because me and Lindsay are both very clumsy people. So it's like if I stub my toe on a coffee table and I get like super strong after that, like I'd be so powerful by the end of the day, just like banging into walls and everything like that. I'd be like She-Hulk.
Yes. If I'm not doing Yang's, honestly, like Emerald is pretty cool because she basically has Scarlet Witch powers, and that's awesome. I would make people see cats all the time. Cats everywhere.
I'm going back and forth in my head between Nora and Weiss. I love Weiss's big
Being able to make the, yeah.
You could
this
summon
giant-
a babysitter. Oh my god.
That would be amazing.
You're free
Here's
on
my
it. You're
enormous
free.
night now. Bedtime is at 8. I love that. I love the summoning. And I also really like with Nora. I really love the you try to hurt her, but she just gets stronger. I love that. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks, man.
Thank you.
I also, we've been asked this question on like other panels before about like if you had a superpower, what would it be? And Lindsay's is my favorite answer, I think, out of anyone's I've ever heard.
I've had the same answer since like middle school. I want to make people like I want to have control of their bowel movements. So if like if you make me mad, I'd be like, oh yeah, well you just shot yourself, so deal with that.
Someone cuts you off in traffic, you're like,
Thank you.
No, that's.
Hello there.
Hi.
I was very quickly. You guys were actually. You guys are like an inspiration to me, and I really want to become a voice actor.
That's awesome,
in
dude.
the future, and you guys really inspired me to go towards that. So I've got two things. One, how easy is it for you to get into character? And two, can you guys maybe give a shout out to a group that of people called the Spark Productions, because we're trying to make audiobooks.
shout out to them.
Yeah.
What's the production? Sorry.
Spark Productions.
Spark Productions. Yes.
Shout out.
Shout out.
Shout out.
Get into character.
Sorry, what was the first part of your question too?
How
I
to
have a
get
short
into
standing
character?
memory. There we go.
Yeah.
We talked about that before. Now, I mean, we've been doing RWBY for 5 years now, so it's very easy for us to get back into character. But one thing that I always do is I like to try and find a character's theme song for every character that I voice, because it helps me get into the mentality. So for RWBY, for her happier scenes, I like to listen to a lot of anime theme songs. Like I listen to the Lucky Star theme song and the Panty Stocking theme song, which are both great. But for her sadder moments, which are more prevalent, Volume 3 on, I listen to Red Like Roses Part 2, because it's RWBY and her mother back and forthing, and there's a lot of really intimate details that aren't expressed in the show proper, but still make up a lot of who RWBY is. So that's usually what I go for.
Mine's weird. So it's less getting into character than for me. Raven's voice is at the lower end of my register, and probably what I spend the most time doing is warming up the lower end of my register. So I'll spend probably 20 minutes singing "Careless Whisper" by Wham. Over and over. Like when I'm driving to the stage, I'm like, I got Wham and I'm singing it. I'm like getting down low into my, and that's how I get into her voice. Getting into her character is it's more a matter of really it's direction. I listen to Miles and Carrie and they're telling me, she's really mad about this, and I go, oh, and then I'll be mad about that. So.
It depends on which version of Yang I'm doing. I get into character very different ways for that. Lately with Yang, what I do is I come to record in like a big hoodie, so I could kind of be a little emo about it, because she's all, emo version of Yang. But when I do Chibi, I just like to cause mischief around the office before I do that. So I'll get to the animation studio and I'll just like knock things over on people's desks and like walk away.
I love doing shit like that all the time.
All the time.
RWBY's such a little snot in Chibi too, so that stuff like that is perfect.
Yeah. And then like we talk about this too, how like sometimes there will be words or phrases to get into character. So for Yang, sometimes I'll go Ruby, 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 and I'll just go like different iterations of Ruby,
which is even better because my way to get into RWBY is going Yang, Yang. So it was meant to be.
Meant to be. Don't touch me.
Okay. Other than, it's funny you mentioned the hoodie too. I do take off my shoes when I go in the booth too, because I feel like it's one, grounding, and two, kids do that. They just kick their shoes off, so it makes me feel a little bit more fun-loving, freewheeling.
Yeah, too.
You do
Barefoot in the booth.
Yes.
Yeah, there's a surprising amount of physicality involved with voice acting that a lot of people might not think happens.
Yeah, you got to be able to brace your stance.
Yeah. And as a side note to you, you said that we inspire you to do voice acting. I say this at a lot of panels, and it sounds cliche, but it's totally true. You guys have to keep in mind that you watching RWBY, etc., has literally changed our lives. We didn't do anything like this beforehand. We weren't voice actors at all, and now here we are getting to do this. I mean, you inspire us, so thank you.
Yeah, thank you,
Thank you
and
so
thank you
much.
all.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Thank you. Hi.
Hello. Hello. Oh, okay. So we know about the Grim Dragon that came from Mountain Glen and now that is at Beacon. Do you think any other exist in the world? And I was here last year.
You will have to watch the rest of the show.
Watch the show and see what happens.
It's Grim everywhere. I still want to get more involved with the elephant Grim that we saw. Yeah.
So cool. What do
They're
you mean by
planning
more
something.
involved?
I'm just studying them. I'm observing them. But yeah, they're planning something.
Yeah.
They're smart. Elephants are smart.
Yes, and they never forget.
Yes.
Hashtag.
This is what I've heard.
Never forget.
Could I have another hug?
Yeah, I don't care. Sure.
Come on. This is the only hug. No one else come up here.
Only hugs. Happy birthday. That's awesome.
Happy
Happy birthday.
Yeah, happy birthday. Enjoy. Shout out, y'all. Hashtag hugs, not drugs. All right.
Hello.
Hello.
Oh,
Hello,
no,
Anthem.
not you.
Want a hand with that?
You have to stand closer to the mic.
Want a hand with that?
What?
Your arm.
What
Oh
hand?
wait, you still have it.
Great joke.
Yeah, I know. I suck at them.
Sorry.
My question was on what are your thoughts on the actions of the White Fang and specifically Adam at the end of Volume 5?
The actions of the White Fang, and specifically Adam.
At the end of Volume 5.
Maybe you should have prepared a little more.
Adam. Again, I'm trying to G-rate it, and I've already sworn multiple times in this panel. I'm sorry. Adam's a little wiener, basically. He's a wuss. He's all bark and no bite.
Yeah.
And I think that really speaks to his character too, is he had the forces behind him and he thought he was so powerful. But when you remove that, you're nobody.
You're nobody. You got nothing.
Definitely.
Great cosplay,
Yeah,
though.
really great.
Thank you.
Hi. Do you guys ever feel that you guys, that you have like a connection with your characters, not in the like more silly scenes, but in like the deeper, more emotional scenes?
Absolutely. And I mentioned that earlier in the panel. I mean, Ruby has lost some of her dearest friends, and I feel like that was the case with Monty. Especially with her reaction to it immediately was anger, and that's where I channel a lot of my sadness. Is I get pissed off at the way the world is, and I mean, Autumn can speak to that. She was there with me visiting Monty, and I was like, this sucks. I hate everything. So I feel like that's aside from her social awkwardness, that's my emotional connection with Ruby.
Yeah, that's a major one. Raven is a little hard to connect to on a superficial level because she's made all the choices that I wouldn't have made. But it is important to find ways to connect emotionally with your character. And the way I find into that with her is conflict. She is so full of internal conflict in the way I read her. She, has this child that she wants to be part of her world somehow. She keeps trying to get at Yang in some way and talk her around, but she's
pretending
also,
like she wants nothing.
But
of it.
pretending that she wants nothing to do with her, and also she's, I think I've said this before, but she knows how to be loyal. She knows how to uphold her ideals, and her ideals are just not, they're not mine. So, but I think that, we all know a place of internal conflict where you're torn, very deeply torn about one thing or another, and I think that's sort of how I find my way into her world.
I think the thing I connect most with Yang is the love she has for her sister, and because I have a younger brother and an older brother, but my younger brother is significantly younger than me and my other brother, and he's always been kind of like our pet, I don't know, like our baby. So if anyone friggin' touches him, I will literally kill them. And so I relate on that level with Yang's love for Ruby and how that's all she's focused on, that's all she cares about. But also it's difficult because I am very fortunate in my life where I haven't had people abandon me the same way Yang has with her mom and Blake and other people in her life. So on that level, it's difficult to relate, but again, it's what Lindsay said, it's taking experiences you've had that you could relate to that and getting into that emotional headspace. Thank you.
Thank you.
You're queen of the castle.
Yeah, I am indeed.
Oh my
First
God.
of all, thank you for
We
noticing.
noticed you.
We noticed.
I'm also giving out free boops if you're interested.
I thought that said boobs.
A lot of people did.
I was like, I'll take 20.
Where were you when I was in high
I
school?
don't have any, don't worry. I don't have any. But anyway, my question is, do you have any personal headcanons surrounding your characters?
It's not even a headcanon because Tumblr says it's real. So
Indeed, they do.
I'm all about nuts and bolts. I want Ruby and Penny to be together one day. We'll see.
My favorite headcanon is that Yang and Sun work out together. Like, they all just like are constantly comparing abs and like muscles and everything like that, and like benching each other, trying to constantly compete. Yeah, I like to believe that's actually real.
I don't even know. I like Bumblebee, but
Yes!
Who doesn't love Bumblebee? Come on.
Oh, my kids clearly do.
I like Bumblebee.
They're over there cheering.
I know me and Aaron talk about that a lot. How like me and Aaron, as people who watch the show and love the show, like Bumblebee, because we like Yang and Blake together. But we don't say that as representatives of the show. We just say that as people who enjoy the show. Yeah, it's our
Fair
personal
enough.
headcanon.
Yep.
Bumblebee. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yep. Hey, hello again. Bob probably can guess what I'm going to ask about by default, but since you saw it earlier. But I'm going to ask to all of you, have any of you ever seen any fan-made OC characters that you wish was actually in the show?
I've seen a few online. One thing that I saw that I thought was really cool, and I had mentioned just to friends, because I try not to talk to the writers about it. I know they try to make sure they don't look at too much so they don't unintentionally get inspired by it. I always thought a Rapunzel-inspired character would be really cool, and she could use her hair to fight, much like Bayonetta, and I saw some concept art that was basically very similar to that, and I thought that was pretty awesome.
That would be awesome. I have not. I have not spent a lot of time searching for.
You have a social life. I don't.
Kids. Two. And they're big. Yours are.
Mine's an 8-month-old. She's fine.
Yeah, I'd love to see more characters based off like different storybook characters like Cinderella, Rapunzel, etc. like that.
That would be
because
very cool.
I grew up watching Disney and obsessively with all the Disney princesses. Like a Little Mermaid character would be amazing.
I personally grew up with Thumbelina, the Don Bluth movie. It was awesome. Cornelius was like one of my first crushes. No shame. But I always thought it'd be really cool to have a Thumbelina character too, so she could fight like Ant-Man, like crawling up people.
Yes.
And people them. That'd be awesome. I'm all about that.
That should be a semblance or something to get really small. Ooh. Cool. Thank you.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Hi.
Hello.
I just wanted to ask, what are all of your personal favorite moments over the course of this Volume 5? What are your personal favorite moments?
You're not from Australia, are you?
We actually had this exact same conversation at last RTX Australia.
Well,
I grabbed the mic, I started talking, you said, you're not from Australia.
I'm a creature of habit, okay?
Like, I've literally gotten it throughout my entire life. I just developed the accent as I got older due to watching.
So you are from Australia?
Yes, I am.
Well,
so you too have non-regional dialect. Yes, excellent.
Wait, cut to him again. I just realized I could do that like way too far into the stream.
That's awesome. Just tickle his chin as we answer his question.
Sorry. I'm the worst. What was the question?
It's like favorite part of Volume 5 that we recorded so far?
Favorite moment.
Yeah, what were your personal favorite moments?
Favorite moment.
Ooh, I really liked, just because of the tonal shift, I really like Yang whenever they finally meet up at the end of Volume 5 and she's hanging out with her sisters. One, when Ruby immediately starts like rant about how sorry she is about everything and Yang just says, it's cool. Or like, she doesn't even say anything, she just hugs her. And I think that's a great example of show, don't tell in writing. It was beautiful. But also during the fight that they have with the villains at the end of the episode, I know Yang goes, "Hey, you okay, sis?" And she goes, "No, I'm angry." And I was like, "Yeah, you get it, Ruby. Get him, get him."
That was a really good one. I have a few. It's just maybe a cop-out to not pick one, but I think the Raven's teardrop moment was that one hit me. I also
I've never really seen a real emotion come out of her like that before.
That was a very visible representation. I love the moment of the reveal of the Maiden's Chamber. That was so beautiful.
Gorgeous.
The animation and the design, and I mean, it was just exquisite. It was so detailed, and the little flying leaves and everything
Yeah.
about it. And the third one, so I have three. The third one is the moment where the door opens, and I was like, Yang, do not step out that door.
And then she's just like, bye.
Everybody knows if you open a door into nowhere, you don't go through it.
Yeah.
We learned this from Beetlejuice.
Oh my God, I just thought Beetlejuice in my head. Bless you.
If you step through the door, it is gone. It's
Sandworm,
like,
yes.
no.
That would make Volume 6 very different.
It would,
if
but
that
I
happens.
really had that moment. I had that moment, and then like the door. I'm like, no, Yang, don't.
I'm like Anna. I have so many different favorite moments. The first one was definitely when Yang arrives at Raven's camp, and they have that discussion where you realize that she's not actually there for Raven. She's there to find her sister, because it's kind of just a huge slap in the face of like, yeah, I've been looking for you my whole life, but you don't matter to me anymore, and I want to find my sister. And I think like the audience also wasn't necessarily expecting that to happen. They thought she was actually going for Raven. So I love that little twist there. And then, of course, the scene between Raven and Yang in the last episode. I've heard a lot of people say it's one of the best fights in RWBY that has no actual fighting. And I love that.
I like that.
Yeah. And then, everything with the chamber and all that goes down, I think is just beautifully animated.
The whole season has been gorgeous.
Yeah.
I mean, just visually.
Shout out to the RWBY, by the way. If you guys want to send them some love, they work
They deserve
so
it.
Give them a round of
hard.
applause. Yeah.
They're
Like that's wizardry to me, man. I mean,
Yeah.
we're just doing the voices. They're the
Yeah.
ones that literally make it come to
they
life.
bring it to life.
Yeah.
And the work has been absolutely stellar.
Yeah. Well, thanks for that.
Thank
and
you.
just quickly to go off what Lindsay said, when that scene happened when Yang and RWBY reunited, you should have seen me. I couldn't. I was crying so many happy tears, and I was so happy I couldn't even say anything. It was like squeaks and squeeze.
That's what we want to hear. I'm just kidding.
Like,
There's a moment where we're doing a video where we're reacting to one of our favorite YouTube reactors, Arnold, who's Murder of Birds on YouTube. If you guys know him. We do a video where we're reacting to him, and it's like volume 3 where Penny gets sliced up, and we're watching him just, his face goes white, and he just is like, starts bawling, and we like high five because it's just like, it's so well animated, and it brings out so much emotion in the people watching it. And to be able to do that, I think, is such a talent of our animation team, to be able to show that and get that emotion
They're
out.
extraordinarily gifted.
Yeah.
Well, I liked also, I don't know if you guys have watched some of the commentary that we have for the Blu-rays. They're phenomenal. If you haven't, you should check it out, especially because it goes into depths about the production itself. We were sitting with Jen Brown in Volume 3 as we recorded our commentary, and she had not seen the last couple episodes of Volume 3. So we went, get excited. And then we sat there and watched her watch Pyrrha die. And it was the saddest thing in the world. It was really brutal.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
No problem.
All right.
You guys do great work.
Thank you. All right, this is going to be our last question for the day.
Diva, what up?
Yeah. I've watched RWBY quite a lot. I've watched it all through it. I watched up to season 4, then when season 5 came out, I watched it again. Like, it's become one of my favorite shows, to the point that the season 2 opening is the only song I can sing off by heart without listening to the music.
God, that's awesome. Thank you.
Before I watched RWBY, I've been a big anime fan. I want to know what it was like working alongside experienced voice actors like Yuri Lowenthal and Vic Mignogna.
Mignogna. Vic Mignogna. Yeah, we know him, so we can make fun of him. It's okay. It's awesome. Again, like I used to go to conventions all the time. Again, since I was 12, I met Johnny Young Bosch at Acon, and I lost everything. So try not to swear.
I thought you were going to say I lost my virginity.
No. Oh boy. Woo! No. Oh my God.
Anime conventions are crazy.
But
that was Michael, right?
Yeah. Yes. Of
I
course.
had sex one time, and it was for Iris, and
Yes.
that's it.
Marriage. But sorry, how do you follow that? Yeah, acting along those actors, for me, I feel like that's a dream come true. I grew up about 15 minutes away from Funimation, and whenever I got into anime, I thought, wow, it'd be really cool to voice act, but I had no idea how to do it, and I knew that the audition process was hard. So for me, that was just a lofty goal that was really like never ever going to happen. So to get to sit here now and again be in scenes with Yuri Lowenthal, Tara Platt, I mean Travis Willingham, Laura Bailey, etc., people that I've looked up to for years and years and years, is the most amazing thing I could have ever done. It's literally a dream come true for me. So it's fantastic.
It's an honor and it's intimidating as hell.
Yes.
That's all I'll say about that.
We talk many times about how we're watching a scene. I'm like, oh, that's awesome. Vic's talking to me. That's so cool. Oh, God, now I'm talking. Stop. Go back to Vic.
I do the same thing. It's very intimidating. But I also just want to throw out that it's also intimidating working with these ladies and the other voice actors who were not already big names. I mean, for me, especially coming into the show a couple seasons after everybody was up and rolling, Matt would tell you I watched most of this season with my head under a sofa cushion because it is intimidating. I mean, I work hard, but everybody is so talented.
I think you say everybody's so talented. It's like you are clearly too. And I will say that was one of the best things that we feel about Monty is he always saw potential in people that a lot of times they didn't see themselves, especially speaking about Kara's story or my story, same with Barbara working social media. I was an editor before RWBY. Kara was working as a receptionist. Aaron just did some acting. But Monty said, you can do it.
Yeah.
I believe in you. That was great.
Cool. Well, thank you guys so much. We have to run.
Thank
We're
you
over
so
time.
much.
Thank you for coming out and
Thank
enjoy
you.
the last couple hours of RTX.